Speaker, we're delighted she's been able to come over from the House of Lords. We're very proud to have her as our Vice Chair of the Cuba Solidarity Campaign. But she's been involved with Cuba for many, many years, and indeed was given the great honour of receiving an International Medal of Friendship from the Cuban government a number of years back. She's also Chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Cuba in the House. So please give a warm welcome to Baroness, because she's now a Baroness, Angela Smith. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob, and it's great to see so many people here showing our commitment on what is a very cold, wet evening. And we'll have come here tonight for different reasons. Some of you will have come from the TUC Day of Action rally. Some have come because we know, in our heart of hearts, we know that this embargo is wrong. And others because we are so moved by the injustice of the 5 being in prison in America for so long. And we all come together and we're united in common decency and humanity and a fight for justice. And if anyone's listening across the road, we're here for as long as it takes. We don't want to be here. We want to know that the 5 are at home with their families and their friends enjoying life in Cuba. But as long as they're in American prison, we will be here standing shoulder to shoulder with their families, their wives and their friends. I spoke with Irma today. Irma Gonzalez came, she met members of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. And no one can be failed to be moved by her dignity and her strength. And it's a dignity and a strength for an issue that no young woman, no family should ever really have to endure. But the message tonight from all of us is we stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and I hope that in some small way, in American prisons, in Cuba, knowing that we come here tonight to show our commitment and our solidarity helps them bear it because they know they're not alone. So as I say, we're here for as long as it takes. We're not going away. We are strong and we are committed. And the families know they can rely on us always 100%. So I think it's a message to go from us tonight to free the 5. But in the meantime, we must have visitation rights to their families in the interest of not just justice, but basic humanity and basic human rights, because that's what we stand for. Thank you.
As I said, Angela is Vice Chair of the Cuba Solidarity Campaign. I know most of you here tonight, or many of you here tonight, are members of Cuba Solidarity, but please, if you are not an individual member or an affiliated member, or you can be both, please do join the Cuba Solidarity Campaign. It is the best way of keeping informed about this campaign and helping us build the broadest possible movement of support for justice for the Miami 5 and for dignity and sovereignty for the people of Cuba. Our next speaker is Andy Bain, who is the President of the Transport Salaried Staff Association. Andy Bain.
Thank you. I want to bring greetings from TSSA, 27,000 members, and at least 4 of them are here tonight. We're a union you probably heard a bit more about recently. We are getting more militant. That's partly to do with our closer working relationship with RMT. And I'd just like to say that RMT did put a motion to the International Transport Workers Federation Congress in Mexico City this summer, mentioning Cuba and particularly the very quick aid that they gave to Haiti, and that was unanimously accepted. So I mean that was real progress there. TSSA certainly punches above its weight in terms of international issues. At the TUC recently we've done quite a lot in Palestine, some of you may know, but we do have very positive policies on Cuba, Venezuela and Bolivia. We've had delegations to Cuba. We've had the General Secretary of our sister union there speak at our conference a few years ago, and we will continue to maintain that. Now, the other thing I just wanted to say very briefly was that we have to be aware that there is a common enemy in all of this, and the media here play a particularly nasty role with regards to Cuba and other progressive movement in Latin America. And I'd like to talk about what what I'd call coup deniers, and that's coup, French word with a P, not Scottish word for a farmyard animal. And And the BBC and the Guardian in particular, who we might call the liberal media, are particularly bad at this. And we've seen represented last 2 weeks ago what was a coup, an attempted coup in Ecuador, being passed off as a police riot. Now these are the same people who are distorting what's going on in Venezuela, where they ignored the coup in 2002, and in Honduras, where they ignored the coup in 2009. And just very briefly on the coup in Ecuador, which the attempted coup in Ecuador 2 weeks ago, the police, when they temporarily imprisoned the president there, they sent a delegation to him, although they were also imprisoning him, and they asked him 3 questions. They asked him, they asked him 3 questions. Sorry, he asked them 3 questions when they came in, and the first one was to them was, were your conditions better before he was the president than they are now? And they said they are better now. And then he said, why are you doing this? Why are you rioting? Why are you having this effective coup? And they had no answer. And then he said, have you read the laws which you're apparently protesting about? And they hadn't. And the connection here is that the police in Ecuador have a history of very close involvement with the CIA, and need I say more? But on the subject of the media, we've got a common enemy there. Do write letters when your media are being very critical of Cuba, Venezuela, and progress anywhere in Latin America. Please write to the media. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Our next speaker is representing Thompson's Solicitors, another law firm who indeed have sponsored this tour of Irma and have been with us right from the start. So please give a warm welcome to Karen Mitchell from Thompson's.
Hello, as Rob has just said, we're proud to have sponsored the last tour, and we're proud to have stood shoulder to shoulder with the families of the Miami 5, and we will continue to do so. This summer we heard on the US news about prisoner releases and prisoner swaps. 10 people accused of being Russian agents were sent home within weeks by the US government. Jimmy Carter travelled to North Korea to secure the release of a US citizen. In New Mexico, the Governor Bill Richardson announced that he intended to go to Cuba to advocate the release of suspected spy Alan Gross. The obvious question to Mr. Obama as a lawyer is, what about the Miami 5? We welcome in Thompson's unconditionally the great report of Amnesty International, and we urge you to read it. But as lawyers, we call upon the American administration to unconditionally release the 5 immediately. They've endured 12 years of harsh and unjust imprisonment at the hands of the US government and the US legal system. And you've heard my colleagues speak about the unjust procedure that the 5 have had to incur. But a system that operates double standards brings the rule of law into disrepute, as is the case with the 5. Adriana and Olga have persistently been denied entry visas and visitation rights. This is a breach of fundamental rights in international law to enjoy family life. It has to be stopped. And can I, as a lawyer, remind President Obama, who is also a lawyer, of the words that he spoke in his inauguration. And I hope that the persons in this building to my left listen to this, because he said, and I quote, "As for our common defence, we reject as false the choice between our safety and our ideals. Our founding fathers, faced with perils we can scarcely imagine, drafted a charter to assure the rule of law and the rights of man. A charter expanded by the blood of generations. Those ideals still light the world, and we will not give up for expediency's sake. And so all peoples and governments who are watching today, from the grandest capitals to the small village where my father was born, know that America is a friend of each nation and every man, woman and child who seeks a future of peace and dignity, and we are ready to lead once more. Well, Mr. Obama, we call on you, in light of those words, to lead and do the honourable. Give justice and freedom to the 5 and visitation rights to the families immediately, and demonstrate to the world you can lead and believe in the rule of law. Thank you.